Deadpool and Wolverine is making a killing, and Hollywood has learned a valuable lesson. Or has it? Hello, I'm Marvin, and I'm the Movie Monster. Deadpool and Wolverine is continuing its massive box office domination this week with $1 billion all but assured by the end of this weekend. By presenting fans with a fun, entertaining movie devoid of political messaging and social commentary, Hollywood has a surefire hit on its hands. This follows a trend set by recent hits like Inside Out 2, Twisters, Top Gun Maverick, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, and more. And what do all these movies have in common? They're completely devoid of identity politics. They don't actively hate their audience. They let their movie speak for itself without having to hold for applause for their casting choices. These are movies that thumbed their nose at the Hollywood establishment and were showered with accolades and, more importantly, money. Now compare that with movies like Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, The Marvels, The Eternals, Lightyear, and a dozen others that fell flat on their faces while trying to wag Hollywood's collective finger at humanity. But will Hollywood learn the right lessons from this success? We've assembled an all-star panel of Kevin Apollo, Lou Wasserman's Ghost, Culture Casino, Nolan Thunder, and Spencer Bakuli of Bounding into Comics to discuss it here today on Tooney Town TV. So, guys, it has been an exciting couple of weeks in Hollywood. And of course, you know, I'm the guy that started a pop culture news and information YouTube channel and then booked a vacation to go away the week that Deadpool came out and the week of San Diego Comic-Con. So I find myself now playing catch up because, you know, I've done the typical amount of I've had the typical amount of luck that has followed me around my entire life. So we need to talk a bit about Deadpool and Wolverine, but specifically, I really want to talk about the box office because as you guys will see here in this article from, I believe, from Deadline, Deadpool and Wolverine has topped $900 million at the global box office. We'll have $1 billion licked at the weekend. So with Wednesday's business included, Deadpool and Wolverine has now crossed the 900 million global box office mark. The worldwide crime the worldwide is at 903.3 million, as previously noted. BFFs Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman will carry the Marvel Disney hit across the coveted $1 billion threshold this weekend. It is also 431 million domestically, which makes it the #1 domestic movie of all time for R-rated films, finally topping The Passion of the Christ, which kept it going for like over 20 years. And now, if you remember The Passion of the Christ, churches were busing entire busloads of people to the movie theaters to go see that. That just really speaks to just how many people went out there and saw this movie. My goodness, Kevin Apollo.
Listen, I think people want to have fun again at the movies. It gave you an excuse to go out there and see it multiple times. Again, I haven't seen it yet, but the enthusiasm for this movie, I haven't seen anything like this in a really long time. Like we're talking like, you know, pre-Infinity War levels of hype for something, and it's just nice to see that the silly junk food movie gave everybody what they wanted, and we're getting to have fun in spite of all the standard outlets doing their best to, you know, the poo-poo in everybody's parade.
Now, Culture Casino, we have now seen Deadpool and Wolverine about to cross $1 billion. We have seen Inside Out 2 cross $1 billion. We've seen Twisters do amazingly well. What is the lesson that should be learned from this, and what is the lesson that will be learned from this?
Well, I mean, Hollywood always takes away the wrong thing, and Lou can speak more on that than I can, just with sheer volume of understanding. But at the same time, when you look at why these films performed as well as they did, was exactly what Kevin Apollo just said, which is this: everybody just wants to have a good time. They don't want to lecture. They don't want proselytizing. They are not enjoying the message. The message drives your customers away. So, you know, stop doing it. You know, stop trying to, you know, socially engineer society into this, you know, one world government loving, you know, group of humans. That's what all of this is. So anyway, there you are.
And the numbers say it's not even the message. It's the fact that they're lecturing at you. There's a very interesting article on Breitbart by Nolte, and he said, look, 60 million or whatever it was, people voted for Hillary Clinton. if you got a fourth of those to go to any of these movies, they'd break into the stratosphere, but none of them do. So even people who may like the message don't want to get it at the movies, for God's sakes.
Yeah, apparently that's a good point, Lou. But now, Lou, what is in from a Hollywood perspective? How easy is it to sway the Hollywood kind of consciousness? Like they kind of went all in on this, and now all of a sudden the box office is telling them a different story. Do you think that people are smart enough or humble enough to go with where the business is seemingly going, or do you think they're going to dig their heels in?
Well, you see, the problem, the very first article I wrote for that Park Place way back at the dawn of time a couple of months ago was about the lead time factor. And the fact that when you think you're at the forefront of the wave of history of the future, and then it takes you 3 or 4 years to make a movie to prove it, you're behind the times already. Mm-hmm. So when you say, will they notice? Yeah, they'll notice. This is how they keep score. Will they do anything about it? Well, it depends if the boss cares to notice, because they want to keep their jobs. The number one motivating factor in most executives' lives about making a decision is, will I have a good excuse if it falls on its butt? Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, that's just true. That's just true. And my classic example, old movies. So for those of you younger, you may or may not want to go look at them. One of the movies we did happily on Genre Guys was The Sting. The Sting was an enormous hit. I mean, a hit beyond belief. For its day, it was Deadpool and then some, especially because it didn't cost that much, even with big stars. But The Sting was what? It was 1930s, a brown color palette, and Scott Joplin. And it was, I can't think of the name of the guy that directed it. But anyway, and Redford and Newman. So what did Universal do next? They said, we'll get the same director, George Roy Hill, and we'll get Redford, and we'll get Brown, and we'll get that period, and we'll get that music. And they made a movie called The Great Waldo Pepper that was an absolute bust and deserved to be. Terrible picture. But the guy who greenlighted it had an excuse. The excuse was, well, the Sting made money. Why shouldn't this? So if they're all looking over their shoulder every day, that's the problem. So will this message take hold? Maybe. Will it happen fast? No. Are there 4,300 pictures in the pipeline already that go absolutely in opposition to this message? Yes. And then, of course, we go from Hollywood, i.e. actually selling tickets at the theater, to streaming and everything else where the scoreboard is not how many did you sell, it's how many decided to re-up for another month.
Right. And also got a new panelist joining us right now from Bounding into Comics, the editor-in-chief over there, there one and only incomparable Spencer McCooley.
What is going on? Happy to be here. I had no idea that the panel was going to be so packed with all of my good friends. What is going on, everybody? Culture.
We like
I just
to keep
to be back.
It would not be complete without you, Spencer, truly.
Oh, Spencer, Lou, that actually means something.
We're talking, Spencer, about the fact that Deadpool and Wolverine has just surpassed $900 million at the box office.
I'm kind of genuinely surprised it hasn't gone over $1 billion yet. I'm kind of actually shocked at that.
They're saying by the end of the weekend.
Has it gone to China yet? Do we know that?
I'm not sure if it opened in China yet. Culture, do you know? Yeah, Culture doesn't know either.
I don't. I think they actually. I think it may have actually opened there. I will double check for you, but I don't think I hadn't heard yet. So
and you might ask the question about whether they'll get the jokes, because it is a totally different culture.
It is.
How will they translate them? You know.
It is.
So,
my favorite thing about this movie, though, has been the absolute meltdown that it has been incurring in the shill media, because IGN has had just a hate, just an absolute hate stroke going for this movie since the moment it came out. And
really?
It's very, oh my gosh. Yeah, I know. IGN is like, and then you're getting a lot of these like Polygon and places like that making these articles like the gay jokes. We deserve better than this. And people are like, why weren't Wolverine and Deadpool gay together? Like all of this stuff, they're just livid that this wasn't just stuffed to the brim with all of their messaging. And
damn it, if people wanted gay entertainment, they'd be watching the Olympics.
And they're very much not watching the Olympics. Nolan Thunder, did you see the movie?
Yes, I saw it opening day, actually.
Yeah, what was the atmosphere in your theater like?
It was fun, but I was kind of sick at the time, so my body kind of felt like death. So it was a little bit tricky seeing, but I still had a lot of fun. I tell you, my crowd, though, was a bit weak compared to when I saw, like, No Way Home. The audience cheered, like, 5 or 6 times throughout that dang movie. It was amazing. You could tell there was a lot of fun and energy, but sometimes, though, I feel like my crowd was kind of weak. But I can tell definitely with the numbers and the passion. And I said this a while back when the movie came out, was that you could tell the movie is very, very good in the zeitgeist, because instead of people just like geeking out about it, everybody just wants to quote it. And in my mind, that's one of the best things you can do as a movie, because all the people want to do is just relive those moments. It's great.
Right. You've created a culture around it. And starting off our super chats for the night, John JID 999 for 199, power to the 199, says Bad Boys, Beverly Hills Cop 4, etc. make you feel good. And that's exactly it, guys. Top Gun Maverick. You know, they're saying that male and pale is stale, right? That was like the big thing that was openly being said around studios. And they are proven wrong constantly, time and time again. When you are just given entertainment, it actually, believe it or not, entertains people. And the thing that's been driving me the craziest, I don't know about you guys, have you been seeing all the people that are like, oh, so it's okay when Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, but when She-Hulk does it, you all hate it. Oh, it's okay for Deadpool to sing bye 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 while dancing around with Wolverine's decaying skeleton, but when She-Hulk twerks with Megan Thee Stallion, then everything's a problem. No, it is not an apples to apples comparison here.
There are like two very different intentions behind both of those scenes, right? The Deadpool one knows it's being like intentionally goofy. It's trying to lean into the joke. It's going, haha, look at me, I'm laughing at myself. The Megan Thee Stallion one is like, haha, like it's not even a haha, it's more like, look, we've got her, isn't this so cool? It's a legitimate thing, look how cool we are. That's what it is. Deadpool realizes, like, yes, this is an old song.
Spencer,
this is goofy. Yeah.
Spencer, the key phrase in all of that, and you're absolutely right, is this: laughing at themselves.
Yep, 100%.
Woke doesn't do that.
Oh, She-Hulk never for one second laughs at herself. And that's the thing. Deadpool was written well. Look, the plot is I guess I'll start giving a little mini spoiler-free review. The plot falls apart the second you start to think about it, right? But so of the 3 Deadpool movies, some people are saying it's the 3rd best. I would say it's the 2nd best. I didn't love Deadpool 2.
I hated Deadpool 2.
I didn't like Deadpool 1.
I love Deadpool 1.
I love that one a lot. I can't get past that.
It didn't click for me. I respect it, but it didn't click.
The one thing for me, guys, that Deadpool 3 is the most fun Deadpool of the bunch. It is a love letter. Culture Casino, do you agree?
Oh, 100%. I think this was a great way to try to convince people that there's still something to the Marvel Universe.
Yeah.
The problem is that they have 2 films coming up that are going to convince people that Marvel is dead. So I don't think you can reanimate a corpse twice.
Well, here's an interesting question then. Mm-hmm. Could Deadpool be as successful mocking the MCU if the MCU wasn't so terrible to begin with? Would it even be possible for it to make this kind of money if it didn't have that context of all the crap that they've been putting out otherwise?
Right.
I think it does, because there's a lot of humor in Deadpool and Wolverine about how bad. Do you mean it in the sense of like, because like to me, or let me restart. To me, I see Deadpool and Wolverine as you know what? I don't even know what I'm saying. Ignore me. Just go on. All I'm saying is my entire point.
To make fun of something, you have to have something to make fun of.
Right.
And I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
Could it be more of a we're acknowledging that the wheels fell off the second Endgame ended, because I don't count No Way Home. That was a Sony movie. So
yeah.
So we're going, hey, guys, we get it. We're sorry. Tony Stark died, and we just did not know what to do with ourselves. So here, laugh at us and laugh at all the Fox debacles at the same time.
See, or go ahead. Yeah, go, Lou.
I was going to say, the part about Endgame that always, from the very first, when I first heard what they were going to do was, let's see. over a series of movies. We've built this fantastic universe of all these interesting characters. I know what we'll do next. We'll kill half of them.
I still
Where
the
the
last
hell
stand.
did they get
Oh,
that
what is
idea?
I think it could have worked if they were really smart about who they like. If they had a solid plan for Phase 4 that relied on actual like heroes people wanted to see, genuine successors, not female Black Panther, not Captain Marvel. I think the plan worked because we also have to look at the movies in terms of people's careers, people's like the reality of it, which is these guys didn't want to play these actors forever or these characters forever. I think that it was good to retire them for a little bit. You could have probably brought them back, but this all boils down to the writing. I'm a firm believer of there's rarely a bad idea and often just really, really bad executions. Don't get me wrong. There are very bad ideas out there, but more often than not, it's just bad executions. And I think that's what happened with Marvel after this. They just, because we've talked about it for years, right? They had this, and you just said it, Lou, they had this big plan, built everything up, and then they just went, we can do whatever we want.
See, and what I'm saying is, what percentage of that $1 billion is people taking guilty pleasure in seeing them tear down what deserved to be torn down?
Oh, there was it was a lot of people like feeling vindicated by the jokes, and it was I think what Spencer said, we at a certain point Marvel had gotten to the point where everybody just trusted what they were doing and they went along with it. Like we saw it with Guardians of the Galaxy. Nobody knew what the Guardians of the Galaxy was other than comic book fans. Everyone just saw, hey, there's a talking tree and a talking raccoon and it's set in space. And we all went and that worked. And then Ant-Man worked. And they were like, we can get away with anything. Go ahead, Spencer.
I'm gonna pull my hipster credit card because I love pulling this because back when I was in college when like the MCU was getting started, right? Iron Man was 2008. I was 18 as it started building, was in college. When I was in college and normies started getting into the MCU and stuff, I'd have people, they'd know I was into comic books. They'd come up to me and they'd go, who do you want to see in like the MCU? If you could have any heroes, Spencer, like who would you have? And my answer was always, well, I have 3. The first one doesn't count because it's Spider-Man, but they're never going to get those right. So I always kind of like wrote that one off. And then my second answer was, I want the Guardians of the Galaxy, and then I want Ant-Man. Those were always my 2 like picks because I loved the 2008 DNA run of Guardians of the Galaxy around the Annihilation Conquest storyline. And then I loved the Scott Lang run of Ant-Man. And I would always tell people these 2, and I would get the blankest looks like, okay, maybe like Ant-Man, they could probably like in their head sort of get an idea, right? They're like Ant-Man, small, okay, whatever. But Guardians, they're just like, what are you even talking about? And I would just have to be like, don't even worry about it. It's not happening. And then lo and behold.
Well, and that's why everybody thought that the Eternals was going to be a smash because they were like, oh, it's going to be just like Guardians. You don't know what it is, but it's a new team and everyone's going to love it.
Only shills thought that was going to be good because I think everybody saw from the very beginning, from the marketing of look how diverse all of our casting is. Look at how emotional this movie is. From the jump, we sort of all knew, oh, this is going to be kind of a disaster, huh?
That's what I'm saying about this lead time thing. That was all of these things take 2 or 3 years to happen. And when they start from the motivation of, oh, we're going to continue the vanguard of social engineering, oops, what if it changes?
Well,
what if the audience says no?
When you look at the time it takes from concept to creation in the movie world, like it feels like Victoria Alonso was fired 100 years ago, and we're still her name is still on everything that comes out. And that's
I have not heard that name in many years.
I know. Go ahead, Kevin.
You're very kind, Marv, because Victoria Alonso was the patsy. She got hired to be the protege. She was told what to do. She was hired because she was going to do what she was going to do. A certain hat-wearing someone keeps getting away with getting a lot of credit he doesn't deserve, and because he's trying to pull his butt out of the fire now, we're going to watch him steal someone else's credit again. But I guess my question is for Lou. So as Hollywood makes the arduous effort to turn the aircraft carrier on a dime, is there ever a backup plan for, hey, what if we get this wrong? Like there's got to be that one person in the room who's like, I don't know, boss, and
they get fired. or they get shunted off to a project nobody cares about. If you say, "Hey, Kevin, maybe this isn't the best idea," you get assigned to going to develop like Echo Season 2, Cloak and Dagger Season 2. Like you don't get a real office anymore. It's like in Office Space, like when they put him down in the basement. That's what happens to you if you question Kevin.
No, but see, look, guys. Like I said, all of these people are covering their own asses. All of these people are about keeping their jobs and their perks and their titles and their expense account and their goodies. So they got to have a good reason for it to fail that doesn't reflect back on them. So that's how you come up with the desperation inanity of, well, it's hot in Florida in summer, so people aren't going to the parks.
Right.
Or
my new
the Olympics
thing.
are in Paris, so people aren't going to the park.
With $1 billion in sight, Deadpool and Wolverine seems as though it could be the movie that turns around not just Marvel, but Hollywood in general. But remember, even if Hollywood makes that collective decision to remove identity politics from entertainment going forward, it takes years for films to go from concept to creation. That means we got a few more years of this dreck to go before we start seeing any real relief at the earliest. Thanks for joining us today. I hope you'll join us Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Tooney Talk TV, a live stream pop culture podcast. It's a great way for you to make your voice heard as a part of the Tooneytown community. If you liked what you saw here today, please like, share, and subscribe. Click the bell icon to get notified of new videos as they drop. From all of us here at the Tooneytown channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. Now get out of here!